Okay, yes. Okay, yay. All right, welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm Angela Wolf, if you've never been here before, and today you are going to have so much fun. Today, we are going to do a live upcycle project. Got to remember which side I'm not. We're not reversed, right? So, yes. Okay. I know, don't you love the flowers? They're spring. Whoop, whoop. I figured since you couldn't hear for the first 2 minutes, you had to have some visual something. I don't know, right? Are you ready to drape? We are going to drape a top. So one thing, if you want to watch this later, share it to your page because this is going to be a full tutorial. If we run out of time, we'll do the book tomorrow, but if we have time to do the book at the end, and tomorrow is the live Q&A. So don't think I'm avoiding you. I will go back and take all of your questions if I miss any. Okay, so hey, Reen, by the way, I had to take your fish off of our dress form. Sorry, they were very depressed. And just to make you feel happy, Gil is doing great. He is the one that dances. So he's sitting here watching. All right, you ready, guys? So what I have here is draping tape. And what I have here is a really interesting looking skirt. This is, to give you a close-up, there's going to be a lot of exercise involved here today. Okay, take a good look. This is velvet, crushed velvet. This is the one I told you about that I bought at Nordstrom Rack. The inside is slippery. If you want to see how it's hemmed on ready to wear, it looks like it's just a narrow cover stitch. Oops, there you go. Now this fabric frays like crazy. It has an elastic waist. It looks like the elastic is a little bit twisted, probably why it's on the clearance rack. I think it's very cute. The only problem is I would never in a million years wear this. So it has two side seams and a back. I'm going to, let me just get my chair out of the way here and make sure that you can see. I'll talk louder since I know that you got it? Don't worry about me. Worry about this lady. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this back on without flashing. Wouldn't you know I'm going to do this and I forgot to wear a belt. What the heck? Oh, well. When you just flash like a red flag or something if I'm flashing anybody. Oh, and yes, I see. This is my ruche tee pattern. It's hand-dyed. Love this top. Okay, so here is draping tape. And since you really can't see these lines, of course, this is the dress form that I got from Joe. I'm going to just mark the center so you can see. And this is how I do a lot of my drape designs. Now, I only bought this skirt for the fabric. So there's the center. Now, for this top, if you can imagine, I love this here, whatever this fabric. I love the pleats on it. It's like a pressed pleat. So I want to keep that. So if you can imagine, this skirt is going to turn into a top. Now, I could be really throw you guys for a loop and say, we're done. Very cute. I could wear that. Definitely could wear that. That's very cute. But I'm not that bad. But what I want to do is I want the top to go all the way up to the neckline and have a little tie. And so it's going to be a tank. So let me get this out of the way. So I hope your visual is working on this. And if you have questions, post your questions below. Like I said, I'll answer some today and the rest tomorrow. So I'm going to give myself a guide. That's going to be one side. And now I'll go ahead. I'm just going to tape this and I'll flip it back around just so you can see it. All right. Let me make this just a wee bit. I want it to be a little bit closer on the neckline like that. So that is what the front is going to look like. What do you think? I'm not going to take votes, but because this is what I'm going to wear. But if you have a suggestion of something else, I'd be more than happy to hear it. Yes. Are you sure you can make it into a top? Well, Arnell, I'm not sure, but we're going to do it live. So if I screw it up, you're going to see it. First hand and foremost, here's the center back. And on the back side, we are going to go around the same way. So for those of you that have a dress form, one of the easiest way to do this is to use this tape. And what you can do is you can design the garment on your dress form, and then you guide the fabric to that. All right? So it looks pretty straight. Is it perfect? I don't know. I'm not perfect anyway, so at least not in the figure shape. When it comes to sewing, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. All right, so here we go. We're cutting, and all I'm going to do is cut the waistband off. I don't need it right now. I might use it later. I don't know. And I'll try to do most of this on the dress form so you can see everything. Okay. She's almost ready to go. Look at how much this sprays. This stuff is a hot mess. But we're going to take off the elastic. I'm not going to cut it because I might use that fabric again. Bring this back up. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is match up. Now you can't see this, and I'm not going to do this inside out. So I'm just going to tell you, this is the side seam. I'm just going to pull that up here for now. And this is the other side seam. And I'm just pulling these up to get it out of the way for a minute. Man, whoever's calling, they've got sales call mania. I don't know if you can hear the phone. Sorry about that. Yesterday I got a phone call from 3 different football leagues that want to know if I want to advertise on their banner. I'm pretty sure I don't have much to offer them, but I did wish them luck. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is this is the seam. I'm going to just open this up. Hey, Win. I think I found it. If I could just reach. I've got way too many cabinets. Do you see any seam rippers? Oh, right in front of you there. Can I have that blue thing over on the desk behind you? I love having a remote assistant. Thanks. He already got my iron set up and everything for me. Okay, make sure I turn the iron on so it's ready for you. So here's the seam ripper. And I always have tape. I have tape and pins all over myself. And I'm just going to rip up this seam just a little ways. I could cut it too, but I'm going to try to keep most of that seam. Unless it's too big. So if you can see what I did there, I just opened this up a little ways. Yes, I cut a hole in the fabric, but who cares, right? All right, a little bit more. Oh, forget it. I'm going to cut. We'll just fix it later. That'll take forever. Some of us want to have lunch later, right? So I'm going to go back to the front. And I'm just going to set that right like that. We're going to use that as the front. Looking pretty good so far. What do you think? I've cut this open on the side. I want to make sure everything hangs correctly. If I were to just attach it like this, do you see how the side would hang towards the front too much? That doesn't look so good. So I'm just going to lift this up a little bit. It's not quite enough. What I'm trying to do is cut enough that I can make a neckline way up here. I think once you see what I'm doing with this, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. Okay, I'm cutting it open some more. And I don't want it too short. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pin this up in place. That's the best part of these dress forms is you can just keep sticking pins in them. And this is going to go way over here. So let's just keep cutting this open. Again, in case you missed that, I'm cutting right along the seam that's already there without cutting my own top. Okay, look what's happening. As I'm cutting that open more, I'm able to move this neckline over. And this side as well. So what do you see so far? I'm actually following my green lines if I would leave them alone and they'd quit falling off. So do you see the side? Okay, so far not too bad. We've got a lot of work left. I'm just going to stick pins in here so you can see this. And let's just cut down this side. In case you're wondering, when I had custom clients, when I would help with their, design their garments, this is how I would design their garment on a dress form, and then I would put it on them. And a lot of times I'd be cutting and snipping right on them. Only thing you can't do with your customers is you can't stick the pins in them. They don't like that. They're not voodoo dolls. Although I think there was a couple that thought they might be by the time I was finished with them. All right, let's see. Getting better, but not quite yet. And this side is way too high. So we are going to have a crushed velvet tank that is going to be adorable underneath of a jacket. What I'm doing is I'm just analyzing how everything is draping. Now this is going to be all gathered at the front. So that you have to picture that. It's all going to be gathered. And this is still hanging kind of wonky, so I'm going to cut this just a little bit more. And I think you all can see. I see a whole pile of you popped in a little bit late. Yes, we are doing a live draping, and yes, if we screwed up, it's all going to be live. This is going to be a very cute top, though. It's going to be very simple, and ask your questions below. Okay, let's see. The back is looking fabulous. The front needs a little bit of work. What do you think so far? Yes, it's starting to take shape. Yes, it is. But the only thing I don't like is, see, the back has to be a little bit higher because that's where it's going to hang on the neck. So I'm going to have to adjust the front so see how it's drooping a little bit on the side? I don't like that. So what I need to do is, if you always have to read the lines of the wrinkles. See how I can pull that up? Look at the difference. See how that's draping? And the seam kind of goes, whoa, it's not. And now if I go like this, it lifts it up. That's how you read the wrinkles. Very cool. Very easy to do. And you do this on even when you're testing your own garments. So let's go back to the front and get rid of those wrinkles. It appeared that if I lifted this up a little bit more, I got rid of a lot of these wrinkles. So I'm just going to stick pins in here to give myself a guide. Looking good. It's looking good. What kind of fabric? Pam, this is crushed velvet, but it's pressed, which I love it. I found this at a secondhand shop. Well, it wasn't really a secondhand shop. It was Nordstrom Rack. It is definitely not a secondhand shop, but it was on clearance. That's what I meant. Okay. So far, cute, cute. The side is looking good. Hi, Tammy. Welcome from home. I'm glad you caught me. Today we are draping. And then here's the other side. Still needs a little bit of work, but I think this with skinny jeans would be awesome. Hi, Jude. Welcome to the show. Here comes the fun. So what I want to do is I'm just going to check that everything is pretty close to being straight. I can always adjust this later. Is that pulling too much? Nope, we need a little higher. And you are going to just be amazed at how fast this is to sew. So this is the top. Now I could keep that if I wanted like big ruffles, but you know me, I can't stand a ton of stuff at my neckline. So I'm just going to cut around the neckline. I'm cutting right at the neckline because I need a little bit for a seam allowance. All right, there's part of it. So I have my iron. When I take this off of the dress form, I'm going to fold this under about 1 inch for a seam allowance. And then the back side. This side needs a little bit more work here. Making sure that it's still hanging straight. Someone asked me the other day, how fast can you make clothes? I thought, pretty fast. If I was here by myself, this would already be finished, but I'm trying to go slow so you can see it. All right. Just going to cut out some of this. Cut and throw. All right. We are almost ready to start pressing. So if you have questions on that part, be sure to post it. Again, I will go back tomorrow and answer some of these if I miss them. But here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to lower this just a little bit more on this side. Okay. So if you can imagine, you have to use your imaginations on this. Hi, Susan. Hope your manicure went well. What I'm going to do is this seam is already sewn. So I'm going to run it through the sewing machine, back stitch, turn this under, and that's going to be one of the seams. I'm going to run it through the cover stitch machine. And on this side, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the seam allowance. You probably can't see that on here, but there's still a seam allowance on here. So you have two options under the arm. I could just turn it under, and that could be my seam. Super easy, super fast. If I want to curve it and make a circle, I can do that too. But I'm making it so easy that nobody will be confused. And the next thing you know, next week, everybody's going to be wearing one of these. But that also means it's going to be really nice out. Cut my seam allowance off of this one. Okay. What do you think? You ready to sew? All right, I have the iron set up. Make sure that it's on. It looks like it's on. And I'm going to scooch my chair up. Here's the waistband. All right, so I'm going to try to move you around without losing you and without losing my pants. Note to self, add to the list. Bring a belt next time. The only thing, hey, Wen, do you see any chalk over there? Like tailor's chalk or anything like that? Yep, it looks like soap. Do you hear him? I said, do you have any tailor's chalk? He goes, it looks like soap. It actually does look like soap. I'm just marking. See that? That's going to be the back, and then I'll know it's the back. Of course, once I put it on, I would know anyways. But so, by the way, when you have a pile of people saying hi to you, he says hi back. He's feeling much better, too. And so far, I haven't caught it. I was a little worried. Goodness gracious, this fabric is a wrinkled mess. All right, so let me mark the back, and then I'll bring you down here so you can see all of this. This is the back. Okay. Are you ready, Freddie? Slippery little sucker it is. Okay, here you go. So here is the top. And I have my little pressing cloth right here. And in fact, I'm just going to move this over a little bit without tipping you over. I'm trying to keep you from getting seasick today. Okay, so here is the neckline. And I think you can see that okay. If you can't, let me know. And you can see my cutting isn't exactly perfectly straight, but it's pretty good, I have to say, for just cutting it on the dress form. So the next thing I want to do is, if this is the front, I'm just going to lay this on top of each other just to compare and make sure that it's pretty close to being even. Minus a few jagged edges. I didn't do too bad. Okay. And then this side. And Win is over there cutting me. He's so good. He's over there cutting me a piece of fabric to cover this. I don't think he knew what it was for, but he's cutting me a piece. And I'm just going to even out this side. So let's make this nice and straight too. Okay, you ready? Press cloth. You could use anything for a press cloth. Thanks, Win. This is really nice fabric, but it's clear so you can see through it. So, anyone else ever get calls from their hubby during the show? During the show, or well, I don't get calls from your hubby during the show. My hubby's over there. Okay, so I'm using this as a press cloth, but just FYI, I have a full blog post that shows you how the iron that I really use. I use a steam iron. It's like 99 bucks. You can get it from Joe. You can get it from Wawak. I posted a link to it on my Amazon page. If you've never been there, I added a whole bunch of new stuff this week. That page is costing me a lot of money because every time I go on there, I'll see something to add to show you guys and I end up buying it. Oh well, it's all fun, right? So I usually use an iron with an iron shoe, meaning that I could take that iron and put it on full leather and it wouldn't be affected at all. So I can't bring that iron all the way over here though, and I have everything stationed here. So I'll have to show you that iron another time, but I do have a full blog post and I will leave a link to that after the show today. Okay, so back down here. The next thing I'm going to do, here's the side seam. So one side's the back, one side's the front. And I'm just going to fold this back about, let's see, about a ½ inch, that is. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can steam this without, so you can see it without the press cloth. But if you're using this fabric, you have to use a press cloth. Do I have bigger scissors that I could use? No, I'm pretty sure that these are as good as they get. And yes, these are Kai's. I love them. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little steam. I'm not touching the fabric with the iron. If I wanted to do that, I could use the press cloth. I'm using the clapper to hold that fabric in place. And see how it makes a crease? Pretty cool. So if you are doing this at home, I just got water on here. Fabulous. If you're doing this at home, you would not want water on your fabric, but you would use a press cloth just like this, just like I showed you. And then hold this over it. But so you can see, I'm not going to use the press cloth. I see a few questions popping up as I'm doing this. And by the way, if you want to watch this later, you can rewind it, fast forward it, anything you want after it's not live anymore. So save it to your page or share it with a friend if you want to see this again. Because this top is one of my favorites for summer. I do this out of silk all the time, but I thought the velvet would be fun. How are we doing on time, Win? 2:05. He's keeping me on track. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just take a few pins from the right side, making sure that my fabric is tucked to the wrong side like this. Even at the corners. And tuck under this entire side. I can see the camera focusing in and out. It's like, where am I supposed to focus? On the pins, on the crazy fabric, on... Sorry about that. Okay, so the only part that gets a little skimpy is right at the bottom. Right there. But you still want to make sure it's all tucked in. If you're having a real big problem, all you have to do is cut more of a circular at the bottom. Like that. Tuck this under. And if you tuck it under right where the seam is, then you don't have to go back with the sewing machine and backstitch there. Okay, that's one side. And now let's go ahead and do the other side. This time I'm going to go ahead and cut this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. A little bit more with a circle at the bottom under my arm. Can you see that okay? With my giant scissors. I'm telling you, once you go big, you never go back. These scissors are the best. Oh no. I better be careful. Wind just fell off his chair. No pun intended there, guys. I was only talking about scissors. Mine's out of the gutter. Okay, press that to the back. And press this. So this is just a little bit crooked. But it won't matter because I'm going to use the cover stitch and that will finish the edges and finish this all in one step. Kay says it's too late. Mine's in the gutter. Oh gosh. Okay, so the next step, am I blushing? The next step is to run this through the cover stitch machine. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then there's only 2 more steps to this because we kept the skirt where the length was, so we don't even have to hem this. I'm telling you, this is the fastest thing ever, and I'm even showing it to you live. So I'm throwing the press cloth away because I just wanted you to see how it works. All right, so I don't know how far I can bring you over, but we're going to try. You guys are all commenting about the scissors. I know, they're crazy. Okay, so let me move my little lady out of the way. Shirley has to take a little vacation for a moment. And then my light. I've already set up the machine. Tell me that that's not too bright because I need the light. You see okay? Okay. Oh, Melody, you're awesome. Okay, so I'm running it through the cover stitch machine. I've already set up the machine for a 2-stitch narrow, which means I'm using the right needle and the middle needle. This is the same on any cover stitch machine. I don't care what brand. I don't care what, if this is the Brother, the higher end cover stitch, which is 3550, or it'd be the same on the one that I bought on Amazon. So any of the same. If you're using the Baby Lock air threading, that's the right needle and the middle needle. So get it? Narrow cover stitch. Now I could use the top cover stitch on this, but I'm not going to because I couldn't match the thread perfectly. So you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, can you see okay? Bring you down here. You can see all my nice messy desk. All right, I see thumbs up, and then I know you can see me. I've already tested the stitch. I'm not that crazy that I'm going to do the stitch without testing it live, right? So I'm going to just slide this under, and this fabric is so slippery, it's crazy. And what I did is I already had a piece of fabric on there, so I could just keep stitching. When you're going from one end to the other, I find that to be so simple. So there's that extra piece of fabric. And for those of you that are wondering what stitch it's doing, this is what the front side looks like. See the 2? And then the back side has more of a chain. Okay. Let's just stitch. And all I'm doing is I'm guiding the edge of the fabric along the edge of the foot here. So I'm stitching from the right side of the fabric. I know somebody's going to ask that doesn't have a cover stitch machine. See if I can put that here. Is that too bright or you can see it okay? I know you'll let me know. Getting to the bottom edge, this is where it gets a little tricky. If you're going over really thick fabric when you get to the end, I suggest using your hand wheel, like right here where the seam is. I can use my hand wheel. The hand wheel, if you turn it towards yourself, this way, it's just like a sewing machine. So, I mean, these machines are awesome, but they can't sew, you know, through piles of fabric. So when I get to a real thick, heavy seam on cover stitch, people will ask me, when I'm doing the cover stitch, why do I have all these little itty bitty stitches together that are all embedded? That's why. Just lift up my foot a little bit and get this straightened out and slide it back through to the other side. If you don't have a cover stitch machine, you could just use a zigzag stitch on this. You could roll it over twice, more like a rolled hem, or you could use bias tape. All right, so where's that piece of fabric that I started with? Right here. And what I do when I'm finished with that line is I just run this piece of fabric through so I don't ever have to stop. Okay. this is what I have so far. So one side is stitched. It's very hard to see. I'll show you the back side because you'll definitely be able to see that where I'm going to trim. So this is going to be one armhole. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side because we're going to finish the top, except for one part you're going to have to use your imagination on. Okay, just stitching down this side. Again, when I get to the bottom. Now, I don't know if you can hear me over this stitching, but I'm just going to keep going. This is the part where we need music. I'm just going to use this hand wheel to get over that bump and back down the other side. Do I have to use the hand wheel? No. It just helps to make your stitches better. Okay, and we only have a couple steps left for this cute little top. I'm going to bring you back over here with my monster scissors. Okay, this is awesome. I have this little extension here, so I have all of this room. This is perfect for the show. Okay, get this back up here. You have the music of the machine. Perfect. Okay, so look at this if you look closely. This edge right here is tucked under and stitched, but then look at, see how the seam allowance kind of bellows out? So I'm going to give this a good pressing. Again, you would be using something to protect your fabric. And here's your little tip. Once you do the cover stitch, I take my scissors, and yes, I use the monstrously big ones because they're so sharp. And all I'm going to do is stitch off that extra seam allowance, guiding my foot underneath of this extra fabric and being very careful not to rip the right side of your garment. Just like that. Yeah. What are you ironing on? Gertrude, I'm ironing on, this is just a little press cloth that I bought. I will definitely add this to the Amazon page because I bought a couple of these. You could make your own, but this is one of those that it was so cheap that I just bought one. Again, I'm just cutting right on the edge. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do this on both sides because I think you get the idea. I'll go back and fix parts of this top later, but that's what you do. All right, give it a few more pressings. Yes, that is a tailor's clapper. Those of you who've asked me about this, that's what it does. It makes your sewing so much better. Okay, just guiding that. I can't do this quite as fast with all of you guys here, but I'm doing okay. I'll give it an A. There you go. You just have to be careful that you don't cut off the stitch. So from the right side, the reason I'm using this stitch is because it also stretches. All right, so the last two steps. One, this is the back. You can see all my chalky marks. I'm going to use this. I'm just going to pin this into the mat to keep it straight. The next thing I want to do is fold over the neck edge enough because I'm going to put a little necktie in there, just like this, without pressing my glasses and everything else on my table. Wonder, would this technically be a fire hazard? Probably. Okay. And this is very crooked, but once I stitch, as long as I stitch a nice straight line from the right side of the garment, this is going to be my casing that I put my tie through. Now, when we do the tie for this, you could use one that you buy. You could use a piece of elastic. We're going to possibly use a piece of fabric, but that might be on a different episode because we might be running out of time. How we doing, Win? He's keeping me on track. Okay, this is the front side now. And back here. All right, do you guys have any questions on this part so far? Because this is pretty simple, straightforward. Does this have to be with a velvet? Heck no. I do this with silk. I do this. The only thing is you have to make sure that the garment is wide enough to get over your body to get back on your neck. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just going to pin this again just so I have, but see how that clapper gives it this nice crease? I really wouldn't have to use pins. I can just fold it under. But I'm going to use pins just to keep myself on track while I'm live here. Because if something's going to go wrong, that's when it's going to happen. Hey, will you see, give me a piece of twill tape. I think I see a whole section down there of white twill tape underneath that. Behind you, over there. Okay, since we're running out of time, I'm going to finish this and we're going to use twill tape. Oh, everyone says they have time. Okay, we'll just keep sewing. But I might use that twill tape just as a little. Okay, back over here. You can see what's in my cup. Just tea, just tea. So now we have the front and the back, and you have to picture this is this part of the neckline. All right, and we're going to stitch from the right side. Did I measure that the armholes were even on each side? No, I did not, but if you noticed, I folded it on the front and back and compared. I probably didn't mention that when I folded it this way, there's the front, totally even, and then the back. I've done this so many times. That's probably why I didn't even mention it, and I can just eyeball this stuff. So if you've never done this before, then compare that they're even. But, sorry, sometimes I just do things for granted because I do this in my sleep. Okay, now here's the trick. When you do this side, you want to give yourself enough room that you have room to get a tie through. Okay, so can you see? Let me bring you just a wee bit closer. Can you see right here? Let me see if I turn that up, if it's better. There you go. I have a little bit of extra room where this stitch, so that's going to be a little hole that I'm making. I'm just making a casing. Starting at one end. And going all the way around to the front. This fabric is so slippery. And then to the back. I saw somebody ask, what else could you use this for? You could use this for little girls' dresses. You know, if you have a wedding coming up or a summer party, do this out of a little, like a little stretch knit or something like that. You could actually turn this into just a dress instead of a top. Would be adorable. And now I'm going around to the back side. And right here, let me find my piece of fabric that I can stitch off to. Okay, let's see what we have so far. So, I have a back and a front, just like this so far. Remember, this was the skirt. I'll just step back here so you can get a visual. And we only have one more step left. And then now it's the front. So look at how, look at how big this top is right now. That's huge. But we have one more step. So the last step is going to be to you can make your own tie or use something different. I'm just going to use this for now. I'll make something later and show you how I made it, but let's see if I can find a safety pin or something like that. Or, oh, I see something, Lynn. Do you see something on that thread rack over right behind you? This is so funny. You guys should see this because my studio is, huge. Look, okay, down to the right, on the very bottom right. Do you see like a piece of metal hanging bottom right of the thread rack? Yeah, what's that? Oh, no, that's a measuring tape. Do you see any pieces of metal hanging? It kind of looks like it has a hook on the end. Or a long thing with an eye through it. This is what happens when I clean my studio. I can't find anything. So what I'm trying to get is something to take this and put it through my casing. Like this. See any pins of any sort, like safety pins? All right, guys, you're just going to have to bear with me for a minute because I can't do this without one of these tools. Maybe over on the piece of metal is like a long, skinny metal thing about this long with a circle at the end with a hook. And it's usually hanging on the edge of one of those racks. Out of everything in here, I don't have a safety pin. A bodkin, that's what I'm looking for, Breen. No. Safety pin, anything, come on, are you kidding me? Okay, we have lots of stuff in here. Oh my goodness gracious. Safety pin's great. Success. Where's your purple thing? I know, Melody, it's the purple thing. And it is purple. Okay, this is the biggest safety pin ever. This almost goes with my scissors. I feel like a little midget. All right, back down here. Okay. I told you this show can be fun and entertaining, sometimes annoying, but either way, we're going to get it done. Okay, so I'm just going to slide that through this casing. So again, here is the back stitches. Here's the front stitches. It stretches because it's with the cover stitch. Thanks, Wynn. If you're going to use that with something else, like something that doesn't stretch, you just have to make sure, again, that you have enough room to get this over your head. Trust me, you are not the only person that does this, Rebecca. I'm just the only one that does it live, that's all. Okay, so this is a huge thing of twill tape. There's the back, and now you're going to bring your thing around to the front. Now, is this going to match? Heck no, but I'm going to make something different later. In fact, that's why I kept the waistband. I'm probably going to cut this apart and turn it into a tie. And don't worry, if I decide to do that, I'll do it live tomorrow. Can't leave you hanging at the end, right? Yeah, the safety pin works good, but I have this really cute, I have a bodkin, and then I have this long purple thing that Melody was talking about that works awesome. I just don't know where it is. Okay. Are you ready for the big reveal? Whew, yeah, cliffhangers. I know. Okay, you're so funny. All right, so here's the top. I can see that I have this marked with, there's the back. And I was going to laugh right out loud, even harder than I already have, if this disappeared, because that wax-looking chalk that looks like soap is press away. So if it presses away, it will disappear, just in case. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you wouldn't put your top on like this, but that's the only way to get her back on here. And scooch her up. Bear with me for a minute. We have some work to do. So you have to imagine that this would be out of the velvet, right? Let me bring her back up here for you. Can you see her okay? Bring this up. I don't want you to be stuck on the ceiling, but okay. And no, I'm just kidding. We're going to change it a little bit. Let me just figure out which way I got to move her. I can never remember if you're backwards or forwards or. And then here's the back. Again, get all of these little guys off. the green tape. So look at how cute the back is. Do you understand what we were doing now? We were making a little casing for that. There's the armhole, super cute. And here is the front. Ah, isn't that adorable? All right, so here's a few more things. Here's the side again. If you want this higher, all you have to do is take your tie it up a little bit more. Some of these pins out of here. What do you think so far? I think it's absolutely adorable. I would totally wear this with black skinny pants or my jeans. In fact, maybe I'll wear it tomorrow for our live Q&A. Maybe. Depends what the temperature is. I know, isn't it cute? And that's it. And because this already had the fun pleats on it, it's just like a very cute flowing top. It's even in the front and the back because we made the adjustments. The armholes are cute. Probably just would need maybe a strapless bra, but that is adorable. And that was super easy, super fast. I will be sure to post photos of this, but I can't start from the beginning because this was all live. So if you want to save this to do this later, don't forget to save it to your own page, because with the new Facebook changes, who knows where it'll end up in the sky somewhere, right? So what did you think? Okay, I see all of you saying that you love it. It's so cute. Easy breezy. Easy breezy, super fast, super cute. Bring this around here. The hem is already finished because the skirt was short enough that I just brought it up. Okay, let's just say you had a really long skirt and you wanted to do the same thing. Just bring this up to where you want the hemline and do exactly what we just did. Super easy. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you, because we're going to have to do the book Q&A tomorrow because we are totally running out of time. I have to be somewhere at 3. But let me bring you down here and show you something. One last step. So this is probably why the skirt was on sale. See how the elastic is all twisted in there? Okay, this is the coolest trick ever. You've seen me do this with the serger. Can I give you this iron? Please. Say, I cut off the waistband. Now I'm stuck with this. Is this going to be long enough for a whole neck tie? Potentially. Let's take a look. Thank you, Wynn. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So the next step is going to be, I'm going to turn this piece, and I could do this with the serger, but we're going to do it with the sewing machine. Wynn's going to help me get some of this icky stuff out of here. Thank you. What would I do without him? He's like, I didn't even sign up for this job. I just sucker him into it each week. I think he just likes coming to say hi to all of you. Okay, so here we have this. Let's see if it's long enough before I go to all this effort. You know what? I think it's going to be just about perfect. So this is one of the easiest, fastest ways to make this. You could do it on the sewing machine, or you can do it on the serger. Do we dare try it on the serger? We could. But I think, you know what? We're going to do it on the sewing machine because I think you'll see it better. Squirrel, just for a moment. Get all this out of the way. Okay, you ready? I think I need a set director. Okay, let's bring the sewing machine up and let's sew this. This is just a really fun, easy way to do. Okay, I'm not going to bother putting the plastic sheet in. Well, I guess I could. Otherwise, you won't be able to see. Okay. Sorry. Hold that thought. we in? We're in. Okay, can you see the sewing machine okay? Right here? Perfect. All right, guys. So, yeah, I know. No, I'm not being braggadocious. That's just really cool. So here I have, this is what I'm going to use for our strap, right? Now this fabric is really hard to sew when it's right next to each other. So you could use the move it foot, or we can just use a regular foot. And let's see, how long of a thread, this is the tricky part. So I want you to take a thread, this is a thread right here, pull it, and you want to make this as long as your strap is going to go. So are you following? Yeah. Do you see that? So it's kind of hard to explain, but this thread I'm pulling out of my sewing machine, except for the fact that I unthreaded it. So let's try that. Take two. Okay. Let me put my glasses on. Make sure that I'm sewing this. Whew. Okay. You have to thread it first, by the way. That was really stupid. Okay, so here's my piece. So here's my thread. I'm pulling this long piece out so it's as long as this is my strap. Now, I know you've seen me do this on the serger, but we've never done it on the sewing machine. So what I'm going to do is take this thread. Let me see if you can see in here just a wee bit better. I'm taking this thread. Here's the thread, and I'm putting it right inside of this strap. It's the top thread. You could also use the bobbin thread, but I'm using the top thread. And folding this in half, making sure that the thread is way inside here. I know it's hard to see, but it's right in the center. Move my finger, right there. Fold this in half. And I'm just going to use a straight stitch at about a 3.0. There's no sense in doing something smaller than that. Okay, get that out of the way. If I can get it to stay straight, my goodness gracious, this guy's a little roller. Okay, that looks good. Put my pedal down and stitch length of 3.0. So here's my thread right here. I'm just going to kind of feed that through, fold this in half. And yes, I have all of this extra, but I'm going to trim that off. What I wanted was a strap that's about, it's a little bit more than a half of an inch here. But once I turn it and stretch it, it'll get even skinnier. So I'm going to take this. Now, if you have a serger, you could do the same thing with the serger. You would just put the chain inside of the serger. I just didn't think you could see it from way over there, so I'm using the sewing machine. Okay, here is my thread still, the piece that I pulled out, making sure it's in the center. If you've been in my Craftsy class for serging, you saw me do this. You probably have seen me do this when I talk about making spaghetti straps on evening gowns, because it's like the magic. Now, I don't know if it's going to be magic on velvet. I haven't done this in a long time on velvet, so let's just keep our fingers crossed, right? What did you say? That music sounded like the Joker? Yeah, so let's hope the Joker is not playing jokes and we can actually do this. I have no idea why it was on slow speed. We don't have all day, right? Okay, let's get this rolling. And I'll just do a quick back stitch at the end. Okay. Oh, you think the machine is quiet? Well, that's good to know. Now I'm just going to trim off that extra seam allowance. We don't need all of that. Now, by the way, if this is going to stretch a lot, should have mentioned this. I used a straight stitch, which I'll be fine. But technically, you probably should have used a zigzag stitch at a very narrow width. So the stitch would go like this just a little bit, and that way when you stretch it, it wouldn't come out. I didn't do that, so if I call you tomorrow on the live show and tell you that I had to redo my strap, that's because I wasn't thinking. If you have a serger, use a 3-thread overlock, narrow overlock, and that will stretch anyways. Or you could use a chain stitch on your serger, or you could use the triple stitch on the sewing machine. Was that enough options for you? Whew. Okay. Now, if this works, here is the magic of this. This is where we all hold our breath. So here was my thread. I give it a little tug. And what happens is, let me make sure that, is that a better angle? So you can see the whole strap. See how as I pull that thread, this is that free thread that we had. It scooches all this, scooches. Is that your word for the day? Scooches. It scooches your fabric. And then at the end, you just want to get that to start to tug under. And you just, this is where you hope that one thread was strong enough, because if it's not, then you got to go back and use a loop turner. Oh, I don't know. I feel it starting to turn, but it's still sticking because this fabric sticks a lot. Okay. So do you see how the end is actually tucked under and I'm pulling it? So I'm just going to keep easing that through, holding my breath, that one, usually you have a whole chain from the serger, not just one thread. I suppose, you know, you could use the bobbin thread as well, so you have 2 threads there. But we're just going to see. And what you do is you ease it just a little bit and then work it back out. It's kind of like a worm. Now, by the way, if you're using satin or silk, you can make the tiniest little satin straps with this technique. All right, a little bit further. Wow, are we going to make it? Yay! So here's the right side. So now I'll go back and work out this. It'll be strong enough. It worked. Yay. Yes, Sandy, if all else fails, use a bodkin, but it did work. So for those of you with a serger, that's really fast with a serger. This fabric is so dusty. So now that I'm on the right side, I'm going to cut off all that extra. And what I would do is either put some beads on this, tuck this under, and I could hand stitch it, or just do a straight stitch along the end. So it'll be all tucked under. And I'll keep working this out, but I think you get the idea. I know. I'll let you try the satin straps. So, glasses and all. What did you think of that? Super easy, super fun. I know. And so you just keep working it out. And then when you're finished, now I probably should have gone back and ran it through the serger because I just realized I did the straight stitch, but I'm going to be the one wearing it. If I was doing it for a customer, I would have done that to make sure it didn't rip out. But I'll just keep a little note to myself that this is how this is going to be. And now let's bring you back up to Our Lady, to Shirley. So now once I run this through, which I'll do before tomorrow, this is going to be my strap at the end instead of the white. Super fun. So we recycled the entire skirt except for like a couple little scraps and that piece of elastic that I threw somewhere. I know. Wasn't that awesome? So how are we on time? Oh, 2:40. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll through a few of your questions because of the fact that we're super, super late. I didn't know how long that would take. We're not really late. We're just going to come back tomorrow at 10 for part 2. But anyways, what did you think of that? That was so super, super easy. I can see a few of you mentioning a few things on here. So, okay, what was that? Someone asked, what was that? Was that a pattern? No, that was draping. That was draping. So you could use any fabric. You could start with just a plain piece of fabric. I just happened to find that cute skirt that I would never wear as a skirt. Yeah, I know. So maybe we could talk about that one day. Note, yes, I think that would be a good idea. Here's one more thing, the book review. So this is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to talk about this somewhere between 10 and 11. I'm not sure. I have a busy schedule in the morning and I got to work out. So I'll try not to come here with workout clothes. But this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And since we're going to be here all for a whole episode tomorrow, I'll bring this one and I will bring the Claire Schaefer so we can compare both of them and see which one you like better. What do you think that now? 10 my time. Yes. Oh, yeah, because you are, Clovis, you're an hour different. 10 Eastern time. But okay, so I put a schedule up. Did you get notified today? Were you able to save that? And then it reminded you when I started live? Because if that worked, I'll do that again. And that way you'll know right when I'm going to start. So I'll schedule it for somewhere. Well, it's going to be between 10 and 11. That's all I can tell you because I don't know how long my morning meeting will go. Phoenix, no, I'm in Michigan. So Eastern Standard Time. 9 Central. Oh, that's early, girls. You're going to have to get up and have coffee with me. But that's okay. So I'll leave your comments below what you thought of this top. I'm going to go back and capture any questions. If you're not going to be here tomorrow for the questions, go ahead and leave a question now, and I'll bring it to tomorrow. So you can go back and check that out. If you're working tomorrow, don't worry. You can always watch this later. This is going to be on YouTube. Unfortunately, on YouTube, it won't be live, but you'll be able to watch it there. And, oh, Amy, it didn't tell you. Okay. Oh, I know. Deborah says she used to watch Sandra faithfully. Sandra had, I think she still has her shows on her website. It's a membership fee. She has a gazillion shows on there. What's the guy's name? I'm not sure. It's in my head. I can't think of it. Oh, 9 is yoga, Susan. That sounds good. Well, it's going to be between 10 and 11 because I have a meeting too, and I should go to yoga, especially after today. All right, guys. So I'm wishing you a great day. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow is the book review, somewhere between 10 and 11. Don't worry. You can always watch it after the live, and I'll check your questions out. I will talk to you later. If you have any questions, say holler. Is it the Fabric Savvy book? Oh, yes, it is, Cynthia. It is the Fabric Savvy. And yes, it's Ron Collins. Thank you, girls. So I said to my nephew, or my sister, her 1-year-old nephew, Carter, he was watching the show that I never get anything right on. Well, every once in a while. They might talk about fashion or something. Alex Trebek? Yes. And so her little boy, who's 1, is watching faithfully the whole show. And when the music comes on, he starts dancing. That is the cutest thing ever. The kid probably knows more questions than I do. But that's what I feel like this show is. When I can't think of somebody's name or where something is, I have all of you and I have Wynn to help me out. So have a great day. Love you all. And I will definitely go back and check out your questions. Make sure you pop in and say hi. I'll see you tomorrow between 10 and 11. I'm sorry I can't be more specific, but I will see you then.